Today we want to talk about import policy, the import regime that the elite has put in place in Kenya. And from that clip that you saw that the Chinese are now making African drums, and I'm using that just as an example for you to see how bad the situation has become. And the largest market for these African drums is Africans, if you can believe it, that Africans will go to China to buy from the Chinese traditional African drums. Africans will also go to China and buy traditional African cloth, the kente cloth. That's how bad the situation has become. In fact, if you go deep into looking at the African items, traditional African items that the Chinese make, it's everything. They make from African artwork, African batiks, African tie and dye, African style shoes, sandals, anything that we quintessentially claim to be African, including shields, like a shield. All of those things are made in China, and the largest market is Africa. And they also export to other countries, which means they undercut any of our sales to third countries. Now, at once, this brings about issues of patent. Can someone steal your culture and make money from it? Because that's what the Chinese are doing, literally stealing our culture, our cultural artifacts, and selling them. In fact, I even saw another artist, a foreign artist, making the Benin bronze heads. Yeah, and selling them. And he's not an African. Making money off our culture, hijacking our culture and making money from it. Now, you will never hear Africans protest. In fact, for many of you, this is the first time you're hearing about this issue. And you will also not protest. And your governments will also not protest. No one will protest. Because, like we always say, African men never stand up for themselves. So it's very easy to exploit an African man because he's, mentally weak. So this is what is going on in the market. And this is an indication of the traditional skills that people had in Kenya. Like, the Kamba, they make the soapstone thing. And, other people in Kenya make, the wooden masks. They make all sorts of, arts and crafts. But now majority of these arts and crafts are coming from China, which means the local producers are not able to sell either in Kenya or to third countries. That's how bad the situation is. And you will not hear them protesting or telling the government to go to the WTO and protest this kind of cultural subterfuge by the Chinese. And so the entire market, the entire export market, has been denied to African producers. And because we are talking about Kenya, we have to focus on Kenya. So what is happening is that we have lost so many of our skills, because in pre-colonial times we had people who used to produce metal objects. They smelted iron and they produced metallic objects. That class has died out, isn't it? We had other people who used to process leather and make clothes out of leather. They would soften it. They had a process that they take the leather through and they would soften it, and then they would dye it into that nice brown. And then they would make these hats made of sheep's skin. All those skills they're getting, a lot of them have been lost. So the manufacturing class that we used to have in pre-colonial times has almost completely disappeared. And where it exists, it's directed toward the tourist market, because Kenyans are not interested in African culture. when you go to Maasai market, where they sell all these handicrafts, majority of the buyers are non-Kenyans. You won't find many Kenyans going there to buy their own cultural items. They want foreign cultural items. And so these producers really struggle. And I also saw something that I thought was, quite sickening, in my opinion. I saw this rich guy. He had built this huge house, and the house had a lot of artworks. But guess what? All the artworks were European statues. And I thought how inappropriate that house looked and out of place it looked being in Africa. Like, so you can see where the state of the mind of the Kenyans is. You can just see it, because you're putting up all these artworks, and it never even once occurred to him to put any kind of African artwork. That is immediately rejected. So the house was full of European statues, and I was like, it doesn't even make sense. And he was very proud of that. So it shows you the mentality that is killing off even our arts and crafts, which is why the Chinese are able to come in and literally manufacture our traditional items and make huge profits without being challenged by Africans, because Africans also despise those things. Like, when is the last time you bought an African drum just for your kids? When? Do you even know where they sell African drums? But I see some of you buying a Western guitar for your kids, or a piano. But I don't see you buying any traditional musical instruments. And this is like, a severe problem in Kenya. So that every single manufacturing skill that we had has gotten lost, because majority of the population prefers anything that is foreign. And ultimately, that is the reason why we are extremely poor, because we don't make anything. And we don't make anything because we despise the works of our hands. So if you, as a grown man, you despise the works of your own hand, how can you ever possibly become rich as a nation? So this is the challenge that is facing development in Kenya. So if you can get a chance, when you go to Maasai market, take a trip there. Go buy some items. Yeah, just support those local producers. Buy a few things. Buy 2 masks, buy something. Buy some drums. As long as they made it out of their own hands, go buy. Support them. If you're a TV producer, have some of those items in your background. Where like the way you have sets, like this TV set where you sit, have some of those items, popularize them. Let us develop our own arts and craft industry, because it has the potential to employ many people, because there's 40 million of us. So if it becomes a tradition that every house has several masks, those are many masks that can be sold, and those are jobs that we ourselves can create. The situation is not so bad if we buy our own. Buy your own and build your own. So that's what we are calling for. We are calling for everyone who's a patriot to purchase locally made products. Go to Maasai market or any other such market and purchase a few items from those people. I know you spend a lot of time buying used clothing from abroad. So it shows that you have money. So instead of making a trip to buy them tumba, why don't you go and buy some of these items that these, people make? That's what we're calling for, and I hope you'll support that. Thank you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment below. Kenya's time has come. Our time has come. Your time has come. A time to succeed and not fail. A time to grow wealth and not poverty. A time to go up and not down. It's time for you to stop walking and drive your car. Stop renting and buy yourself a house. It's your time to get blessed. Join the CCV movement and together let us kick poverty and unemployment out of Kenya. Become a member today. Donate what you can. And remember that the CCV is the only political organization in Kenya that is squarely built upon Christian values, unlike the rest. We'll see you next time. Thank you.